Welcome back to the channel. And man, Cowboys Nation, it's always the Cowboys that will make you want to rip your hair out because they are the most unserious team when it comes to searching for a head coach. But welcome to Jerry's world where insanity sells. So if you don't already know, the Dallas Cowboys have what looks like they're narrowing their head coaching search to two candidates. One candidate, I believe, is the actual target, and the other, I believe, is smoke and mirrors. But at the end of the video, I'll tell you who I believe is the real option for the Cowboys. And could you do me a favor? Like this video, subscribe to the channel. It will be much appreciated. So I keep giving you guys this Cowboys content. So, Ben Johnson is gone. Aaron Glenn is gone. And guess what? The Cowboys decided not to hire or not to interview either. But this is what we do in Cowboys Nation. We create an environment to where the only good option is our guy. That's what the Cowboys do. So that's why I was telling you when I saw, I peeped the move from last year. Y'all did nothing to help Mike McCarthy, set him up to fail because you did not want him anymore. But instead of firing him like most people would have done and maybe promoted Al Harris or Mike Zimmer, they were so afraid that one of those guys would be the actual head coach because they had somebody in mind already. And they're cheap, so they didn't want to pay Mike McCarthy to sit at home. So here we are. You fire your head coach. Now you have no good options like that. But these are the two head coaches that the Dallas Cowboys are basically narrowing down their search. And it's one of them threw me off for a loop. I didn't expect it, but it is what it is. We have as the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys either Kellen Moore or Brian Schottenheimer. That's crazy. All the good head coaches in the NFL, but this is what the Cowboys decided to do. And I get it. They like their guys. But for me, it's always been malpractice if you don't even try to look at actual candidates, the top of the top, because you don't want to pay for great talent. You want guys to be thankful to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and you wonder why for almost 30 years you've been struggling. That's why. If you don't prioritize coaches and you just want people that are yes people, you cannot lead men. And what made things even worse when you're hearing reports that this next head coach could possibly be the bridge for a Jason Witten. Imagine that. You come in as a coach and they're telling you, oh, we want you to train up Jason Witten to take over your job. Who would take that interview to be a Dallas Cowboys head coach or deal with all that stupidity? You might as well hire Mike Zim if you want somebody that's not going to coach for a long period of time and then you can hand it to Jason Witten. But no, you want to bring in these in-house guys that are yes people, that are just thankful to have a job, that care more about their career than the actual team winning. And then again, you wonder why you're in this predicament. But at the end of the day, this is where we are. Kellen Moore, Brian Schottenheimer. Welcome to Cowboys Nation. This is what we got to deal with. So I was like, okay, more than likely, one of these guys is going to be our head coach. So let's just get prepared now, take a look at both of them, and see what we're actually going to be getting in our head coaches if we choose either or. I still think I know who they're going to choose, but let's do the coaching comparison. So, Kellen Moore, when we're looking at, when we're comparing Kellen Moore and Brian Schottenheimer as potential head coaches for the Dallas Cowboys in 2025, their offensive play styles reveal distinct philosophies. So, the Kellen Moore's offense, and we're taking a look at this graphic, is known for its creativity, versatility, and frequent use of pre-snap motions to confuse defenses. Conversely, Schottenheimer emphasizes a more traditional power run approach, often leaning on play action passing to exploit defensive vulnerabilities, while Moore's scheme focuses on creating mismatches. Schottenheimer prioritizes physicality and ball control, which can wear down opposing defenses over time. The stylistic differences reflect the unique football ideologies and highlight the potential impact of their leadership on the Cowboys' identity. So Schottenheimer, he was the last time he was OC was with the Seattle Seahawks back in 2018 through 2020, and under him, Russell Wilson looked really good. O line looked really good. And with Kellen Moore, we've seen it with Kellen Moore. When it comes to Kellen Moore's play style, um, even though there's creativity, when things start to get tight, he starts to go back to being very, very predictable. So people say, oh, maybe he learned something in Philly. He didn't learn nothing in Philly. The play calling is still the same. Only difference is Saquon Barkley is bailing him out. So I just want you to remember that if we bring in Kellen Moore, the problem, yes, we're going to get more of the pre-snap motion, but from what I've seen, I don't know if it was a McCarthy problem. Well, it looks more like it was a McCarthy problem. But the problem with Kellen Moore is I still don't trust him as a leader of men. So yes, we could bring him in, but I'm telling you, it's a shot in the dark. It's a shot in the dark. A notorious Jerry Jones yes man giving him a head coaching job that he doesn't deserve is just, I don't know. Nobody looking for these guys, but the Dallas Cowboys. Uh, man, it is what it is. So let's take a look at them, their stats when they were both OCs. So statistically, Kellen Moore's offense has consistently ranked near the top of the NFL in points scored and total yardage during his tenure as offensive coordinator. And in contrast, Shotty's offenses, while often deficient, were typically middle of the pack in terms of raw output, but excel in red zone efficiency and turnover margin. Kellen Moore's high powered approach has produced multiple Pro Bowlers for players like obviously Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Schottenheimer's focus on complementary football, on the other hand, has often led to fewer turnovers and better clock management. These metrics showcase the trade offs between explosive playmaking and consistent efficiency. So, if you look at the chart, I went through all the years that Kellen Moore was an OC, including when he was with the Cowboys, Chargers, and now with the Eagles. Schottenheimer was an OC, as I said, between 2018 and 2020. And I just pulled up the comparisons. So both offensive coordinators, when they're leading their offenses, even though, like I said, it's been 5 years since Shotty actually called plays, but while he was calling plays, points per game, a little bit better than Kellen Moore, so he gets that notch. Rushing yards per game, a little bit better than Kellen Moore, he gets a notch. Where Kellen Moore really exceeded him, but it was, like I said, they're very close. 10 plus yards more passing yards per game, third down percentage efficiency, 2 points higher. penalty up, penalty average is about the same, and interception ratio about the same. So statistically, even though these guys have different philosophies, they're very, very similar in the outcomes that they produce. So it's not to say that stylistically uh, things are going to look different. The offense is going to look very, very different. Shoddy likes to run the ball, play action off that. Kellen Moore spread it out, throw down the field, taking deep shots. So we're going to see different variations in offense, but I would love to see if Shoddy gets the job, how effective that would be, especially with the offensive line that we have. Was it Mike McCarthy's play calling that was just that bad? Because I thought the team was a lot better than we looked on paper, but I felt like the scheme and the play calling was so archaic that it really held the Cowboys back. So that's just my take. But this is how these guys, through stat wise, this is the comparison. So let's talk about the tendencies. So Kellen Moore's play calling often favors aggressive downfield passing, especially in critical moments. He's unafraid to dial up high risk, high reward plays, which can lead to game changing outcomes, but also occasional mistakes. Remember when Dak had that interception issue? That was Kellen Moore. It's like we got to drive the ball down the field. All these option routes causing confusion, so if guys don't know where to be or not running the right depth. Being aggressive can get you in trouble. It just is what it is. And for Schottenheimer, in contrast, he tends to lean on conservative decision making, preferring to control the tempo and minimize risks. This difference in approach can shape how each coach handles situational football, from 2 minute drills to fourth quarter leads. And for a Cowboys team with championship aspirations, which I don't really think they're aspiring to win championships because of things that they do, these tendencies between both coaches could heavily influence the team's success in pressure packed moments. So, like we'll see from the graphic, Kellen Moore, his offense tendencies, aggressive calls, downfield passing, downfield passing plays. Came to Shoddy, conservative calls, clock management, minimize turnovers. That's what they prioritize, and that are their tendencies. So let's discuss the pros and cons of a Schottenheimer versus a Kellen Moore. And I'm sorry to say this, but it just is what it is. The number one con that both these guys have is their yes men to Jerry Jones. I don't care what anyone says. They're desperate to be head coaches. Jerry knows that, so he can get them for cheap and can get them to do what he wants. The main pro, I don't know if this is true, the main pro is that they possibly, since they like them, will actually help them build a team. But if it's expected that these guys are bridge gaps, be just be in for a long couple years till Witten comes in, because if that's the case, we're, Cowboys, they should be prepared. It's going to be a long couple years if they're just trying to hoard money and basically do nothing till the guy they really, really want is the head coach. So we'll just have to see. But that would mean that the coaching has to out uh, uh, outpace the bad decision making, and we just don't. We haven't had the guys to actually do that for a long time. So, well, the pros of hiring Kellen Moore as head coach include his ability to be innovative and to adapt, traits that can unlock the full potential of the Cowboys offense. He has a strong rapport with the players and a modern understanding of analytics, which make him a forward-thinking candidate. However, critics may point to his relative inexperience and occasional struggles against elite defenses as areas of concern for Kellen Moore. We've seen it in the playoffs. All of a sudden, they can't score. That's just wild to me. But again, that's the risk you take. And we've seen it with the Eagles. Eagles have, if it wasn't for them having a great defense and Saquon Barkley, they would have been a first round exit easy. Cowboys don't have either. And it just is what it is. For Schottenheimer, his experience and steady hand could bring much needed discipline and a balanced approach to the Cowboys. And he's a guy that apparently a lot of people like, is a leader of men. But as a head coach, that could be a whole different story. And how's his play calling? We don't know. Will he be the OC or will he hire OC? What does he prioritize as a head coach? Do they prioritize defense? Will he be one of those guys? Okay, I like to run the ball, so we need to build up the offensive line. We don't know. Yet with Shoddy, his perceived lack of creativity and occasional struggles to produce elite offenses may raise questions about his ability to maximize the team's talent. So you're not getting the best of the best in these two options. So with Moore, you get youthful energy and ambition, and they align the team with seeking to establish itself as a contender. Moore has the ability to adjust mid-game and exploit defense's weaknesses, and it makes him a valuable asset in today's evolving NFL landscape. However, some might argue that his aggressive play style could expose the Cowboys to unnecessary risk in key games. And we saw it. You push the ball down the field, and defense can't save you. It's going to be a long game. And with Schottenheimer, his focus on fundamentals and situational football could provide a more stable foundation for success. But critics may wonder if his conservative tendencies might hold back the offense in critical moments against top tier competition. So you're you're getting yourself into a lot of situations, but we'll just have to see what happens. So let's talk about player development amongst both coaches. From a player development perspective, Moore's track record can help young stars flourish. It's evident in the players like Tony Pollard and Lamb under his watch. But the only thing about the Tony Pollard thing is it was probably a call from Jerry Jones, but the last 2 years that Zeke was in with the Cowboys, Pollard was a better back. It was clear as day. But we acquiesced to Zeke. I think that was called from upstairs, and one of the reasons that I'm scared of Kellen Moore. They draft some guy that isn't good or is starting to fall off, but we're gonna still push him even though the guy behind him is better. Did that with Rico. See how that ended up. But that's how Kellen Moore is. He had players that broke out under him. With Schottenheimer, his emphasis on fundamentals historically has helped players improve in technical areas, particularly along the offensive line and at quarterback, which we saw in Seattle. This contrast reflects differing priorities. So, Kellen Moore's knack for leveraging athleticism versus Schottenheimer's commitment to refinement execution. Depending on how the Cowboys roster is composed in 2025, either coach strengths could significantly shape the team's trajectory. So, it just is what it is. The decision between Moore and Schottenheimer as head coach hinges on what the Cowboys value most. Jerry's ego. Let's just say it. That's what they value most. Jerry Jones' ego. So whoever can appease him more gets the job. It has nothing to do with what you've done. Both of them shouldn't be head coaches, but it just is what it is. Schottenheimer, Kellen Moore represents a gamble potential. uh, because he's leading the number one of the top offenses, but he has a great O line, great running back, great wide receivers right now. That's why he looks good and is in the conference championship. But with Schottenheimer, he's a safer pick, has a more methodical approach, and emphasizes complementary football and game management. That's what we those are our two options, guys. I know it's rough. I know it's hard to say, but this is where we are. This is what the Cowboys are getting. So, what's my final verdict? I think the Cowboys are going with Kellen Moore. I'm sorry. I think the Cowboys are going with Kellen Moore. I've thought that from last year, and I think that now. The Cowboys' next head coach in 2025 will be Kellen Moore. I'm open to be surprised. I hope it's neither of these guys, but more than likely, I believe the head coach will be Kellen Moore. But while both Kellen Moore and Schottenheimer, they bring unique strengths to the table. Contrasting styles highlight the challenges of finding the perfect coach. What the Cowboys aren't trying to do. They just want whoever is just happy to be here and they want to pay him nothing. But when it comes to Moore, aggressive, innovative, can elevate the Cowboys offense, but it comes with inherent risk. We've seen Kellen, we know Kellen, the big moments, we saw what happened. It is what it is. With Schottenheimer, he's more conservative, has a more disciplined approach, and could possibly provide a sturdier offense. Won't have the fireworks, but a leader of men, um, more balanced, likes to run the football. But either choice carries implications for the team's identity and championship aspirations. Um, I believe this decision could tell me where the Cowboys will go the next couple years. Because, like I said, if Witten's is on the head is one of the coaches, I don't know if that disincentivizes guys to actually play better. Because that's what they did with Mike McCarthy. They didn't give him a reason to want to win, so he didn't try. They didn't try. He didn't try. Cowboys are 7-9. So this is the situation that we're in, Cowboys Nation. You got Schottenheimer, Kellen Moore. Pick your poison. I'd rather have neither, but hey, that's just me. So thank you guys for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video. Um, I know it's a rough time. We at this point don't have a head coach. And it seems like the Cowboys are just playing games, but man, we love the team. We're just going to keep fighting through it, and we'll see what 2025 has in store. Got the draft coming up, um, so hopefully we do something in free agency, and hopefully we get some good draft picks. But again, a lot of hopium, not enough. This is what we're going to do. Not enough certainty, but that's what it's like being a Cowboys fan. Oh man, it's some trying times. It's some trying times, but this too shall pass. So again, thank you again for watching the video. All the socials are at Mecca Mike. That is MECCHA Mike, and I'm out.